I was just randomly thinking about a few things. You know, it's interesting the idea of evolution, and it's interesting the idea of that many people have of evolution, and I'm sure there are many people out there who know more about scientific theories or scientific theory of evolution or just in general. But the general concept that people have thought of is that, oh, you know, there used to be two cells, a crash, or whatever, Big Bang Theory. Usually everyone who agrees with science only believes in the Big Bang Theory, and then they believe that, you know, slowly things, molecules have created into other simpler life forms, and then eventually created, you know, whatever, monkeys, apes, or whatever, and then humans. So it's interesting. You know, I'm not saying that evolution is wrong. I just want to say that right now. I believe in something very simple that I think everyone, honestly, every Christian should believe. I believe that the gaps in evolution, the questions in science, are filled by God. The same way that I believe that there are gaps in religion, or there are gaps in the in what God has done. I believe that the gaps in what we know about God are filled with science. Because really, honestly, do you think that humans created science? I mean, science just existed. Like laws of physics and all of this and gravity existed. It's not like humans created it. It's not humans just found it. Humans, you know, found out that it existed. You know, like it's like oil, like gas. Like, you know, it's not like we created it. We found it. Fossil fuels, we found it. You know, so who says that God couldn't have created all of it, and then we just started understanding it? We started getting closer and closer to God. I mean, of course, God is further way above in knowledge and understanding to have created all of this, but then we get slower and closer in understanding who God is. And it's interesting because we think so much of the fact that God couldn't have created man for something. That's what annoys me. Like he couldn't have created something and have a purpose. That annoys me. It's like, how do you prove it? That's what people say. Prove it. Prove that God created man to do something. Prove that God created this to do that. Because people get pissed. People get pissed when you tell them that a certain part of your life or a certain part of the world was made like this. Oh, God created this for a reason, or God did this for a reason. People get pissed. Like, no, how do you know? Well, or maybe it could just happen. People will suggest, oh, maybe it's just random, or maybe he just wanted to do this. Like a person just wanted to do this, and that's why I did that. People get pissed. Like, when I say people, I mean, like, you know, usually non-Christians. And some Christians are so confused on it. Some people just take it as accepted knowledge that God created things and he has a reason, but they don't know. Let me tell you something. Like, let me ask you something. What if I saw a different types of backpacks, different types of book bags, and one is like a hiker's or a mountain book bag, and another one is a laptop book bag or something? How do you know? How do you know that one is you know, another? Or, you know, how do you know that? How can you differentiate one laptop book bag versus a mountain climbing book bag? How do you know without outside knowledge? That's the thing with our everyday life. We don't realize how much outside knowledge we need in order to understand what something was created for, and understand what something was made for, or understand what it is. We need so much outside knowledge. Because you can prove to me that a laptop bag is a laptop bag only by proving what a laptop is, or the laptop size. If I showed you a laptop bag that didn't have a compartment for a laptop, you'll be confused why it is called a laptop bag. If I showed you a mountain climbing book bag that was actually like a purse, you would be confused what kind of mountains you could climb with it, because honestly, it wouldn't suffice. It wouldn't. And to me, if I didn't know what mountain climbing was, I don't know why a backpack has to be that size. There are so many times where we look at some things and we eventually learn, you know, like some part of your life where you see something and you find out that it was made that way for a certain reason. You're like, oh, that's why those red cups have those lines on them. Or, wow, that's why, you know, maternity clothing is a little bit bigger. Oh, so if you get pregnant, oh, that's crazy. I didn't know that. Aliens, how did aliens know? How would aliens know if they came here and you're like, oh, this is the laptop book bag? They're like, what? That means nothing to me. I don't know what a laptop is. Let me ask you something. If you saw a piece of metal, and it was curved at the ends and it was a certain centimeters deep or whatever, and I asked you, what is that? And you would say, oh, it's an iPad case. Why is it so critical to show iPads in the iPad case? Have you ever thought about that? Whenever they show product display, it's always simple to us, like, oh yeah, the iPad isn't included. It's just an iPad case. But they need to show you that the iPad fits. Why? Why? And I know that many people in marketing will say that that they show product display in their suggested uses because it's kind of manipulating you to see or to imagine it better. And honestly, it's better. It helps you realize what you would have wanted a product for, I should say. But imagine what it would be like to look at an iPad case or a case in general without all of that, without the iPad in it, without some listing saying it is an iPad case. Just the case. Just seeing the case up there saying, hey, this is for sale. If I saw a piece of metal and you told me, oh, that's an iPad case, I would say, how do you know? I don't know what iPads are. Well, I mean, I do, but I'm just saying, like, let's say I don't know what an iPad is, or I've never experienced or felt it or seen it really to know the gist of the size, and I see a iPad case, a sheet of metal, some plastic that is bent at the ends and the corners and whatnot, and has like a random hole. And I'm like, oh, how do I know that this is an iPad case? How do I know it's not just a piece of metal that I found in my backyard? How do I know I just didn't dig up a piece of metal like this? And then you might say, that's silly. Prove it. Prove that this isn't just a piece of metal. Prove that this is an iPad case. And silly because you'll probably put in an iPad in there, like you see, it fits. How do I know it's not a piece of metal that just randomly happened to fit there? How do I know that the iPad just happens to fit it? I could find anything, a piece of cardboard that could fit in. I could say this is a cardboard case. How do I know? Prove it. Well, it was made by this company. Did you see that it was made by that company? Prove it. What do you want me to do? You want me to bring you to the factory and then show you the machines making it? You want me to show you the engineers behind it, proving that the iPad could fit perfectly in this case? Sometimes that's what is expected of people when we try to prove Christian beliefs. Prove it. What do you want me to do? Show you God? How do I know that this is made for an iPad when I don't know what an iPad is? How do I know what humans were made for when I do not understand the God who made them? I don't understand his logic. I don't know what he could have personally planned for. And it's so stupid because we don't understand opinions as much when it comes to beliefs. We all need our own credibility for God, I believe. You know, not our credibility in the sense that that he exists, but why we believe believe that he exists, why we believe in him, why we trust him. Because we do that for people all the time. We do that for things all the time. And yet we don't believe that if someone could have existed that is greater than the color red or than our friends, then we don't believe that he needs higher standards of understanding. Think about it. If someone is greater than the color red, well, even for the color red, why do you like the color red? Everyone will come up with a different reason. Some people will say they don't like the color red, right? But let's say there's a color, your favorite color. Why do you like that favorite color? And people have different reasons, and they'll be totally okay with it. Everyone is okay with their opinion. Because that is not a truth. It is an opinion. Believing in God, your own belief in God, your own faith isn't a truth, right? It's something that you have. It's something that exists. And even when I say truth, I don't mean like yeah, I mean there is a truth to your own belief and all that. I meant more of exactness or measuredness, I guess. I like everyone's belief may not be working for them and other people. You know, it may not, your faith and your trust may not be the same reasons or come from the same areas or or same thought process as someone else's, and that's okay. And your trust in God is caused by your own personal experience, or sometimes even by what you see, right? If I ask you, oh, why do you think this person is a great guy? And then you'll say, oh, I've seen him help other people, or he's helped me countless times, or he's never done anything wrong to me. That's what you would say. And everyone's answer would be totally okay. Same thing with God. Some atheists have come up to me and have told me, oh, I don't know if I can believe in God because someone will say God does this, and the other person will say, oh, but I like God because of this, or someone will say some other reason, and that's okay. You can believe in God because of what he's done in the Bible. You can believe in God because of what he's done for you, or you can believe in God because of what he's done for a close friend of yours. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong in you believing something greater than something else. Maybe you might feel wary of believing in the stuff that happened in the Bible because, I mean, you believe it, but you don't believe it as strongly as you do for the things he's done for you. That's totally understandable. We do that all the time. So, doesn't someone, if God existed to you, if God existed, wouldn't he need a higher standard of understanding? Wouldn't he need a higher standard of acknowledging how great he is? Wouldn't you need more than one account and understand which account is greater for you? Your own personal experience? It's just because there's so many people, there's so many atheists that read the Bible. And I'm glad that they read the Bible. But they don't, first off, they don't understand that the Bible is a history book. Because of the Old Testament, it's too long ago, people... It's funny and stupid that Jews get so misunderstood. You know, with the Jews past, and then with the Jews, with Jesus as a real person. I mean, so many scholars already know that Jesus is a real person. There's so many scholars out there, and yet people are still like, oh, Jesus isn't real. Of course, he's a real person. He existed. He's a real person. We have, so much proof that exists right now that he was a real person. His disciples existed. Those apostles were real people. They went to different places. My denomination is called Martham. I mean, St. Thomas. It's proof that Thomas came to India. I mean, of course, he started a few other churches, and then eventually my denomination came. But I'm just saying, it's so obvious that Jesus is a real person. That's happening now with Jews and the Holocaust. There's so many people around the world who are not giving credit to that the Holocaust exists. I mean, the Holocaust existed. I mean, we know people who still live, but how do you know that from like hundreds of years from now, people will say, oh, the Holocaust didn't exist? Please. How do you know that that won't be a widely accepted truth? And then you'll say, oh, because we have like these recorded things. Is that what it takes? If we didn't have those recorded things, is it okay that the Holocaust didn't exist? Like, is it okay to believe that? No, it's not okay to believe that. And it's sad because the Jews are getting all these people that don't believe them, and yet they still exist. These are people that exist. And there are people who converted from Judaism to Christianity because Jesus existed. And we don't give enough credit because there's not enough proof. Prove it. There's so many atheists read the Bible and they're like, oh, I can't believe it because, why would God do something like this? You're looking at something so small. Of course, if you just read something, it would be hard to understand. Sometimes you need some personal experience. You need to see it in front of you. Something like actors and actresses, like celebrities. Why do you like that celebrity? And people have different answers. And some people are okay with just reading about them. They're like, oh yeah, I read about this, that they did, read about that. And you'll be shocked if someone who also equally didn't experience that actor or actress would say, oh, actually, I think that story was fabricated. Yeah, I don't believe it. I mean, prove it. And you have to wait for someone to have existed in that certain moment to have said, yeah, I was there. Of course it exists. Of course it was real. Yeah, that guy is genuine. That girl, that lady is such a unique person, and she is amazingly nice. Or yeah, you have the wrong idea about this person. This person is a bad person because he did this. And I know because I didn't just read about it, I saw it. It's just interesting that I see certain minds that are so amazing, so beautiful, so great. and they don't know where to be on their stance with God. I mean, maybe someone who's seeing this, I don't know if I'm ever going to put this video out, but if anyone sees this video and they're like, oh, you know, I don't know how I feel about God, then I want to ask you, how do you feel about certain other people? Don't you think that you need a higher understanding of that person to really grasp them? Delve into God. God exists. And if you need proof that God exists or not, then find out. If I told you that this actor did this thing or whatever, and you just believed me, how come you're okay with just believing me on that? But not with God. It's because God needs some higher proof. It needs some higher understanding because he's such a great thing. There's so many things that God is credited to. So of course you need higher proof. Then prove it. Then go into it. Delve into God. Delve into his existence. Delve into him. Find out what you can and see if that's good enough. And if it's not good enough, then that just means you need more. But if something proves that he is bad, or he is not a good God, or he doesn't exist, then hold on to that. But until you can find that, until you can find good enough proof, because finding one thing isn't good enough, just like finding one good thing isn't good enough. So why is one bad thing good enough? I hate it when people do that. And if I had one bad thing, like, oh, there's bad in the world, that's why. There's bad teeth in the world. Dentists still exist. Sometimes you have to go to him to find out what good is all about. Seeing good or being blessed with just good things in your life. Some people never have to go to the dentist. We're really silly for thinking that the things in this world are so categorized. People are so categorized, and yet what we should do isn't. That we don't have purpose. We talk about ecosystems and animals and different parts of the world and different like habitats and different needs that animals have in the habitats and predators and preys and roles in environments. And we say those exist. For animals that could be not so different from us. Really, animals aren't, I mean, we're animals. We're animals. We're just, I don't know, a higher level of thinking. I don't really know what makes us so different. But everyone knows we are. Everyone is so easily understanding to give us a higher status quo than other animals. How do I know you're not a laptop bag? Prove it. How do I know you're not just holding something? How do I know you're meant for more? Well, you're going to need some outside information. Go find that outside information. Outside information. I hope you enjoyed this video. I don't know if I was going to put this up or not. I just felt so compelled to talk and think about this, and I just wanted to record myself, so I hope you liked it. Thanks. Sorry if it's long.